this is an incredible dais, right, of state and federal and local leaders, various levels of seniority. But now, did you know that I'm so honored to introduce the star of the day, the guy you've already heard much about. But Michael, how long have you been in office?
12 years.
How long have you spent on this project?
11 about.
11 years. So next to the stage, Michael, the Bulldog, Meredith.
You know, today is, we've had a lot of great days in this Transpark. Governor, you've been here for them. Judge Buchanan, you've been here for them. This may be the best of all, though. As I approach the podium today, I approach it with a lot more emotion than I normally do. And I do that because of the passion surrounding this project from not just myself, but from so many people. The local veterans who have led the charge on this. We've all been involved for a little over a decade on the legislative side of this. But people like Ray Biggerstaff and Bill Lytle and the late Colonel Spiller and Cora Jane, you can't say Colonel Spiller without talking about Cora Jane and her advocacy for this either, have been working and dreaming on this for the better part of 25, 30 years to get us to where we are today. And sometimes vision doesn't come quickly. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And their vision early is what led us to where we are today and what we're doing today. But everybody who's been involved in this project, whether it was the veterans, whether it was anybody on this stage or anybody who's in the audience that has worked on this project, did it for one reason. It's because we love our veterans, we believe in our veterans, and we respect everything that they have done to protect and serve our country. Through our nation's history. And I think it's very fitting that we have this facility here, because I can say without fear of contradiction that there is nowhere more patriotic and nowhere that appreciates our veterans any more than Bowling Green, Warren County, and all of South Central Kentucky. You see it all the time in everything that we do in our communities throughout the region. As I said, this is a product of at least a decade's worth of dreaming, planning, and doing, but probably 20 or 30 years. And I've mentioned them already, but I said, when you think about everybody involved in this project and you classify that, I've always said that the Colonel and Cora Jane were the spirit of this project. They were the driving force and the spirit, the vision. And then you had Ray and Betty, who were the workhorses of the project. And Max mentioned redistricting a few minutes ago, and I wrote the letter in 2012 when I didn't even represent Warren County, but I represented the region, and I knew it would benefit so many communities throughout the region as well. And when I got redistricted in 2013-14, I had a strange looking district when you have all of Edmonson County and you have the north end of Warren County, but then you curve all the way down to Alvaton in the southeastern corner. And I think that may have been specially designed for this project because I had the Colonel and Ray both as constituents, and they were on me all the time. But you also have to talk about a couple of other groups in that process too. And the Military Officers Association has been the project sponsor for this for the entire length of the project. And I also want to commend the work that the Barren River Area Development District did in assisting Ray and others with that process of doing the certificate of need type process and getting the application together, because they prepared all those documents and got us moving down this path. As Senator Wilson mentioned, I think this project is also a little more endearing to all of us because of the struggles we all went through to get to where we are today. And first, we had another facility ahead of us. Radcliffe was in its process. It had to be finished before we could ever think about applying. That got beyond. And Governor, we've been through 3 governors on this project in earnest at this point, starting with your father. And they gave us the green light, he and the Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs, around 2014 to put the application together. And I think we got spoiled really quickly on that, because the application was sent in and it was approved by the federal government within a week, 2 weeks maybe. And I don't think anybody expected that. So we were spoiled from the beginning, but we made up for it after that. We had the regional fight that's been mentioned with Eastern Kentucky and South Central Kentucky. And I want to commend two people who have been named already, but former Speaker Jody Richards and former Representative Martha Jane King, who took a really hard vote on that issue the first time it was ever put up on the House floor. And we passed that funding mechanism by one vote that day. And without the two of them, we would not have done that. And we were also joined by former Representative DeCesare as well. We continued to fight that because we didn't get that money that year. And so the next year, Commissioner Arflack at the department decided we'll do the feasibility study. And we had another win that time. Proved just exactly what we believed. This was where this facility needed to be. And then we went forward. We passed House Bill 13 in 2017 that secured the $10.5 million match that we needed to build this facility. And then about a year later, we got a phone call. And I'm going to recognize him now, and we've been on this for a long, long time together, but throughout all this, the Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs has been great, but our point person on this has been Mark Bowman, who leads the Veterans Nursing Home Program. And Mark and I have had our share of sad conversations over the years. But he called me about a year later and he said, we're running into some issues. We've got deferred maintenance at our other facilities that need to be dealt with. And that $2.5 million that we've got to have to do the design work on this facility, we don't have it in our budget right now. So in 2020, we came back to the well, the delegation from South Central Kentucky and others. We passed House Bill 24, which was another $2.5 million for this project. And Senator Wilson was my partner on both of those bills, 13 and 24 both, and got them through the Senate masterfully. And then we had to find the right site. We had an original site. It wasn't going to work out with the explosive growth of this Transpark and what we needed for the facility. We looked at a couple of other places in the inventory, and we just didn't think it fit the mold. And finally, we were able to settle on this site that we sit on today. And Judge Buchanan, along with the ITA and the Chamber, were instrumental in helping us find this site. And I don't think you could have found a better site than where we find ourselves today. We got the full federal approval letter in March of 2021, the last day we were on the House floor for the session that year. And I think it's the only time I've ever cried in my life on the House floor because I thought this is real, this is really going to happen. And we started moving towards getting everything done that we needed to get done to accept that funding. And then I got the call from Mark again, and it was another one of those sad conversations in April of this year when we found out, even after, and another obstacle, we knew that inflation was a problem. And we knew it was going to be something we were going to face. And so we had taken the tough decision to reduce the bed size from 90 to 60 in that process, knowing that we wanted to move forward and maybe we could get the expansion at a later date some year down the road. But even when we did that, we came in about $16.8 million short still then. And I was really very blessed to have a call very soon from the governor and his staff at that point who said, we want to do everything we can to help. Let's explore every option that we can explore. And we did. We talked to our federal delegation, and not just here locally, but everybody. Congressman Guthrie, Senator Paul, Senator McConnell's offices were great. Congressman Comer, who represents part of the service area for this facility's staff, was extremely receptive to us as well. And Representative Minner and I even got on the phone with Congressman Yarmouth in his role with the appropriations process at the federal level, trying to see if there was anything we could do to get that money quickly with the problems that we were running into. And it didn't work out that easily, but we all came together as a group, the local delegation, the administration, and I'm proud to report that I have in my hand a bill that will be filed in the next session to appropriate that additional about $16.6 or $16.8 million that we need to make sure this project is finished like it was started to be the best facility it can be for our veterans. And on a project this scope and size, you don't get it done without the cooperation that we've had from so many people, all of the veterans groups. From the Military Officers Association to the VFW to the American Legion, to the AMVETS chapter and everybody else who have supported this from their standpoints. Our city and county delegation, both our mayor, our judge, our fiscal court members, and all of our city commissioners throughout the process on this. Our local delegation, and I do want to name them all because some of them couldn't be here today for various reasons, but former and current. Former Speaker Jody Richards, our late State Representative Wilson Stone, former Representative Jim DeCesare, former Representative Martha Jane King, State Representative Steve Riley, State Representative Jason Petrie, State Representative Patty Minter, State Representative Steve Sheldon, State Representative Sean McPherson. We all worked hand in hand, hand in glove on this project from the beginning, and we're here today because all of us worked together. I also want to thank our Senate champions, Senator Wilson and Senator Wise, for helping on this project as well. Special thanks goes out to the guy that drafted all the bills for us, Frank Willey, who worked with the National Guard once upon a time on many of their issues. John Wayne, you all worked together many times over the years, and who has drafted the legislation for multiple of these veterans nursing homes over the years. And again, our governors that have worked on this with us, Governor Beshear, your father, and Governor Bevin as well. And then our House and Senate leadership teams, who when we came to them with an unprecedented request for over $16 million to finish up a project and to go ahead and get it started, said, we can all agree to do that because it's the right thing to do for our veterans, and we need this facility in Bowling Green, South Central Kentucky. And so I want to thank all of them. I want to thank all of you all for being here today. It truly is a great day, but most importantly, thank you to our veterans who have served us so bravely.